This is a Talk2Jack podcast with UnkuJack, exploring topics on heart, mind, soul, and the human experience. Let's talk. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Talk2Jack podcast. I'm your host, UnkuJack, here with another episode. So, without further ado, let's get to it. So, I want to start off with, and probably end with, a question. At what point does resilience turn to madness? Think about it. At what point does resilience turn to madness? I know that you might be wondering, what do the two things have to do with each other? And I'll tell you the perspective I'm coming from. I've heard it said, and it's been said, it's a popular saying, that the definition of madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And that is true. But is that not in some way also the definition of resilience? Doing something with determination and focus continually until you get what you want to get, where you want to be. And I'm thinking about scenarios. Question, when does no mean no? That's a tricky slope right there. If someone says no, then do you just stop? Or are they saying no because they want you to show that you really mean it and that you really want what you want? If someone says, I'm sorry, but you're not the right fit for this organization, you're not the right fit for this role, do you keep going back every day and standing outside and harassing the HRs and the management of that company? If you're faced with a situation that you've been trying to resolve, to get through, to overcome, and it's not working, do you just keep trying? Do you just keep going? Do you keep pushing, trying to get a result, trying to get the result that you want, that you believe you desire, that you deserve? At what point is your resilience madness? And I think that answer obviously depends on you. I think that answer obviously traces back to what it is that you're trying to do and why. And most importantly, if you're being honest with yourself about why you want to do those things, what the end game of those things are, and if those things are meant for you. And I think that's the critical difference, right, between resilience and madness. It's okay to be resilient if there's a possibility that you could get it. It's okay to be resilient if there's hope. Not just hope born out of the ether, not just hope that's fabricated, but you've looked at it, you've done an assessment, and you've said to yourself, I can do this. If I can make the conditions right, I can do this. If I meet the right conditions, I can do this. And so you keep trying. You modify a little bit, you adapt a little bit, you change some things a little bit, you learn from previous experiences, and then you try again. But if that's not the case, then isn't that madness? Isn't that wrong? Isn't that the surest way to deflate yourself and to wear yourself out and to waste your time and your energy and your efforts instead of pivoting into something else that your energy and your efforts would best serve, that would actually give you what you need, what you want, what is best for you? I think that a lot of times that we sometimes find ourselves in situations where we're frustrated, we're not getting what we want, we're not getting the things that we want out of life, out of certain situations. And we're upset, we're angry, we start to lash out a little bit, and then we try harder, and then we get pushed back, and we get angry, and then we try harder, and then we get pushed back. Never for one moment thinking to ourselves, maybe this isn't for me. That is not the same thing as giving up. You're not giving up if you realize that this is not for me. You're not giving up if you realize that this is not working. It's not going to work. I've seen a lot of people, I've been on the receiving end of a lot of bitterness and anger because a relationship needed to end. Because either myself or the other party saw that it wasn't going in the direction that was best for either of us. And the only reason that anger exists is because one party hadn't seen it or refused to acknowledge it. One party was being resilient. No, if I force it, it will work. And there's a time for force. There's a time for energy to be put in. There's a time for resilience. And then there's a time for ease. There's a time when it should be easy. I tell people all the time that you should fight for what you desire. You should fight for what you love. You should fight for what you want. But if you find yourself fighting all the time, then there's something wrong. If you're always at war, if you're always in battle, if you're always pushing and pushing and pushing, then there's something wrong. And you need to take cognizance of that. If you're in a relationship and you spend more time fighting than you do loving, then there's a problem. If you're in a company and you're always at odds with your colleagues and your coworkers, there's something wrong. If your business is constantly struggling to survive, then you're doing something wrong. That is not resilience. That is madness. Something needs to change. And that is the beautiful thing about this comparison between resilience and madness. It's that if you change something, if you adapt, if you learn and you evolve, if you change place, if you change time, if you change the scenario, if you change the objective, if you modify your plans, if you modify what your end game is, what the goal is, then it's no longer the exact same thing. So it's not madness. It's a new thing. And so we need to take cognizance of why we're doing what we're doing, what we want to achieve at the end of what we're trying to do, what the objective is, what the end game is, and if it's the best thing for us and for the situation that we're in. And if you can do that, then you've kind of skirted that line between resilience and madness, and you've turned it into something productive. So that's my short message for today on resilience versus madness. Don't be a madman unless you need to be, but it's better instead to be a resilient person, because at the end of the day, your resilience is because you know where you're going, you know what the objective is, and you know that it suits your life, it suits your needs, it suits the person you need to be, you want to be. And if it's in a relationship context or a work context, you also know that there's value on the other end of that success for the other party. And that's the reason why you're doubling down. That's the reason why you're expending so much energy and so much time and so much effort, and you're putting that into this thing. But if you have not thought about it, if you haven't assessed it, if you don't know for a fact that this is going to work, then you're just a madman. And even though it's okay to be a madman sometimes, it's not okay if it's causing discomfort to people around you, the situations around you, the environment that you're in. You need to take cognizance of that, so you stop hurting yourself and you stop hurting the people around you, and you can be productive instead. So that's my thought for today. I hope you found that interesting. I know it's a little weird. All my topics are weird these days. I know. I'm weird. And that's okay. I like being weird. It's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. We're fine. All right, everyone. Have a great day, week, month, year. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And as always, be inspired. This has been the Talk2Jack podcast with UnkuJack. Tune in next time for another episode.